Hello class. Today we're going to launch into a new unit, Unit G, on interest groups, sometimes called special interest groups or service organizations, and we're going to look at how they impact policy and how they push for passing legislation, or they push Congress to stop certain legislation that might harm the interests of their group. Now, one of the main ways interest groups exert that power is by hiring high-powered lobbyists to meet with congressmen and to explain to them their views. And we'll take a look at this process of how interest groups impact policymaking in American government. There are three sections to this unit: the nature of interest groups, the types, and thirdly, the works thereof. So we'll take a look at, first of all, the nature of interest groups. What role do they play in forming public policy? How do they compare or contrast to political parties, which we've covered already? And perhaps you could make a Venn diagram as part of a project in Google Classroom. Interest groups, then, to help you with your assignment, are private organizations comprised of members who share a certain view or interest and would like to shape public policy. More often than not, these are economic interest groups interested in the economic success of their type of industry. A favorite ploy of interest groups is to what's called legislate a marketplace. What does that mean? Well, if you have a company that manufactures new mirrors for cars that help see where you are backing, and you would like those to be in all cars and make your business quite profitable, you could push and lobby for new legislation that would require all new cars to have these types of mirrors. And in effect, if you could push that law through Congress, you did exactly that. You legislated a marketplace. Now, all cars will have to use your product. I think you get the point that that is a role that some interest groups play in order to continue their economic success. So many are of economic nature, and they all are, some are public interest, perhaps saving the environment or cleaning the air or some such thing, and they are pushing for public policy to shape their to their interests. So political parties, of course, are different. Political parties, as you know from earlier unit, they actually nominate candidates for the Democratic or the Republican Party. Interest groups don't. Political parties also must be focused on all different a broad range of topics, such as healthcare, tax reform, foreign policy, etc. Whereas interest groups are primarily interested just in their focus, whether it be saving the whales or promoting new mirrors in cars that can see where you're backing and so forth. So therefore, their scope of interest is much more limited, and the focus, of course, is just on their topic. And they're what are they trying to accomplish? Of course, political parties are trying to elect a candidate, whereas interest groups might support a candidate that they view as favorable to their cause. So why are they good? Why are they bad? They, of course, raise a lot of awareness for different causes. They can inform the public. They keep an eye on the elected officials to see if they're voting properly. People a lot of times get involved for the first time in the political process by joining an interest group. In fact, most of your parents and grandparents are members of a interest group, whether it be an accounting association or an education or perhaps a National Rifle Association, which is one of the most powerful interest groups, which is interested in preserving gun ownership under the Second Amendment. And you'll be given a chance to interview somebody who you know is a member of some interest group that helps form public policy. Of course, there's not without criticism. Sometimes the groups have way more power than the number of members for political reasons. It's difficult to tell exactly how the people are being served. If you join, as a caution, as a Christian person, we have to be cautioned on joining. We'll talk more about specific interest groups like labor unions. You'll get a chance to speak out against those. But oftentimes the interest groups sometimes could clash with your own views, so that's another thing to be critical of. Also, in rare cases, there's always competition, of course, always, and sometimes it can get quite nasty. So normally, if there's a group that wants to preserve gun ownership, there's also groups that would like to end gun ownership. If there's a group that would like to save the whales, there is a group that would like to fish the whales. So there's always competing interest groups trying to present their views and push them through Congress. And sometimes they can use nefarious means to accomplish those goals.